Alright, I'm not the biggest M. Night Shyamalan fan, but from my understanding, back in the day, he was kind of perceived how Jordan Peele is perceived today, which is this weird visionary director making a lot of movies with really interesting twists in them. And then he had a couple shit movies kind of come out all in a row, and people were like, okay, maybe he wasn't so good. And I feel like since Split, he's had this really weird comeback where every other movie is kind of like good, bad, couple good, couple bad, and now we have Trap. And yes, Trap is directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and it stars Josh Hartnett, Ariel Donahue, Salika Shyamalan, Hayley Mills, and Alison Pill. Yeah, that was a lot of names to remember, so I just read it off the screen. Anyway, Trap is about Josh Hartnett's and Ariel Donahue's characters, Cooper and Riley, as they go to a pop concert, and slowly Cooper becomes aware that there is an inordinate amount of security around this building, which later on he learns is there to find a rampaging serial killer called the Butcher. And the first thing I'll actually say about this movie is not necessarily about the movie I went to see, it's about the trailers, and that's the fact that they really only show you about 50% of where this movie takes place. And holy shit, was that a breath of fresh air going into this movie, finding out that the trailer didn't spoil everything. Now, seriously, Josh Hartnett in this movie is incredible, because right from the get-go I was kind of thinking, this guy's acting so fucking weird. I seriously thought he was giving a bad performance at the start of this movie, and it kind of weirded me out, but you learn later on that he kind of leads this double life, so the version of his character that he shows other people is much different to the version of his character when he's by himself. He really had me fooled, and I was impressed. And another thing that really affirms this double life narrative is the way that Shyamalan uses different camera angles and shot types. Because there are moments in this movie where Cooper's attention is really split between those two halves of his life, and those scenes perfectly visualize the indecision that Cooper is having inside his own head. And you know what else? Those scenes are fucking tense, which is really surprising because this movie starts out as a really innocent fun day out for a father and daughter to go to a concert, but I'm telling you, as soon as the tension starts to build in this movie, it's like a snowball effect, because that shit only gets bigger and it does not stop until the very last frame of this movie. And I'll be honest, that last frame really leaves you wanting more, because this isn't one of those movies that tells you every intricate detail of every character and makes you feel like you know them more than you should. There are actually a lot of questions I still have about certain characters, and especially about their backstories, that are kind of hinted towards, but you'd never get the full story. I know I've talked a lot about Josh Hartnett here, and he really is the main act, but I'll touch on some of the supporting act too, because they're pretty good. Starting with Ariel Donahue, because for a child actor, she does a really good job and doesn't come across as annoying at all. She plays this really doughy-eyed schoolgirl going to her favorite artist concert, and you feel as excited for her as she is. I won't get too deep into Alison Pill or Hayley Mills' character here because they aren't featured too heavily in the trailers, but just know I think they have some really great standout scenes here too. I'll be honest, Trap really surprised me, and there's very little I actually disliked about it. The only thing that I could really think of that is a bit weird is the way that Josh Hartnett acts at the start, because I thought for a second it was a bad performance, and then it's kind of explained away and you're like, oh, this is what's really going on. All in all, Trap is actually a movie I'm really keen to rewatch. This actually makes me really excited for what M. Night Shyamalan has next in store for us, because like I said before, I feel like there's a lot more to this story that can be told, and I would be super keen to see what that is.